Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader's Edge Crypto. My name is Drew Dosek, and I'm joined by Maggie Johnston today. And
Good
today
afternoon.
we've got both Lawton and Ben out of the office. Maggie's stepping up to the plate and helping out today to provide us some good insight on cryptocurrencies. And so let's jump straight into some charts because we're pretty near some levels of shorting options that I do, or shorting potentials that I show on the charts. First up was Solana. Solana, you see here pushing up, currently right around 197 on the chart here. If we push up a little bit higher, right around the 199, basically $200 area, I will be looking to short Solana. Next up, we also have Kaspa. Kaspa currently at 11.5 cents. If we get up towards this 12-cent range on the futures, I will be interested in placing a short there on Kaspa. So let's just go ahead and enter some of these trades. Right now, you can see Kaspa right here at 12 cents. And we're going to do about 1/10 of the portfolio, which is going to put us right about here. Let's see, 50,000, right about 27,000. Let's do that. 27,000 shares, sell short at 12 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there now. We're going to sit there and wait for it. Then the next up is Solana. And let's go ahead and input that order to right around the $200 area, 0.01. We'll give it a small pierce. And then we'll be going with about 15 of those shares. All right. So we've got two orders open. We'll see if we get filled on either of those. And then we can start jumping into some questions. And first up, it looks like we've got one from SA. Is that right, Maggie?
Yeah, awesome. I'll go ahead and read this off to you. So SA says, hi, Lawton and Drew. Awesome job, guys. We spoke last week as SUI was breaking out of a downsloping channel starting in January 25 on the daily chart. Then it retraced back to the scene of the crime and boom, almost 10% up. Provided the positive crypto sentiment, is this still a hold, or do you see more upside purely based on the technicals?
Yeah, great question, and awesome way to follow that SA over the last week of what we were noticing here on the chart of SUI breaking out, and then look at that beautiful retrace, just as you highlighted, you and Maggie highlighted there, perfect retrace to the scene of the crime, and then boom, bounced up over 10% today, making that move. So solid support, solid recovery and bounce off of this big red candle down. Right now, technically speaking, the chart's still showing that it does have more upside right here to basically the $4.60 range, right where you see this next resistance area. So what it needs to do is muster up some strength to get through this chop. And then you notice also we've got a lot of pivots on the chart back here too. So there will be some resistance marching up. So this consolidation is needed to go ahead and push higher on the charts there of SUI. So all in all, still looks good. The area where this would fail would be at this declining trend line. So if we have price action come back, get underneath this declining trend line, then this sort of pattern and this push up would fail. But it doesn't mean it can't regain momentum and try to break out again. But at least right now, it's holding the breakout, which is most important there on that chart.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul saying, good morning. What a great level to short, or what's a great level to short? Do you have any anything in mind, or are you just asking in general, Paul? While we wait on that, we got a question here from Jeff. What are your levels on ETH? Crazy run higher. Yeah, we're definitely running into some resistance on the daily chart. Said he's looking to short, but it keeps pushing higher.
Yeah, I'd be careful doing that. Here, check this out. Oops. All right, so here's my Ethereum chart. Crazy move up, ultra extended, right? So this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, it's basically this huge left shoulder here, mainly with the pivot created by this one down candle on February 3rd. That's the left shoulder. Here's the head. Here's the right shoulder. So for this neckline with this yellow trend line that I'm tracing now with my mouse, this neckline right here produced a measured move up to $4,078. As you can tell, obviously, we're not there yet. We've already broken through resistance here, consolidated at the resistance here, didn't really consolidate at this moment. So that tells me we're closer towards the end of this run than stay pushing through it and then marching higher. So the likelihood that we do have some very steep resistance and potential price action correction is right around that $4,078 level. I would likely hold off on any sort of short on Ethereum until then. This thing has really been left in the past. It's been left behind and really been forgotten about after its push to highs that we see here, as well as back here on the charts. And so it's got a lot of room to make up even when you consider just logically Ethereum and Bitcoin, they weren't at the same values, but they were ticking up generally together. And with Bitcoin near its highs, as we flip over to Bitcoin, we had all-time highs made back here, but we're basically near the highs still. And Ethereum hasn't even gotten anywhere close to that. So Ethereum's still got a lot of room to run. And I probably wouldn't be interested in shorting until we got up here, even though we did break out of this declining trend line. And if I miss that trade, so be it. But I just see Ethereum being pretty strong and potentially piercing the $4,000 area.
All right. So Paul responded. He is looking at XRP. He said, "Where will the pullback be for support?"
Whew, I tell you what, this crypto has really kind of blown past my expectations because of this run up, breaking through the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Let me take away this fib so it's a little bit easier to see. But broke through that inverse head and shoulders pattern, pushed up here, got up to over $3, and I thought we were going to have a pullback down here to 273. Didn't see that materialize. We had a pullback down here to 280, and then we just continued marching higher. Now we're putting in bullish consolidation. Let me get rid of this too, to show you that we're starting to make a turn to break a little higher. So the measured move for this inverse head and shoulders pattern has already been accomplished. A first pullback area, the first support is going to be right here, $3.25, followed by this inclining trend line, which will increase in value, but it's really going to have a tough time getting to $3. It's going to be quite a ways out. So basically 325 and then right around 280. Those are your two spots for pullbacks on XRP. XRP, notice this pullback would be underneath the previous all-time highs, which I do still think is a possibility, even with this bullish consolidation. Now, keep in mind, bullish consolidation at the top of charts generally fails. It doesn't always fail, but it generally does fail. So be waiting for pullbacks at 325 at the first one, followed by the next one under $3 at 280. That's where I'm eagerly interested in getting into some XRP. I think XRP has some fantastic potential to be moving up much higher on the charts, potentially up to the $10 range. Not anytime soon, but I can see how this could play out where XRP could gain that traction.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we have some more questions coming in here. Let me catch up with this right now. Ooh.
Yeah, KAS and Solana doesn't look like it's given us our opportunities. We were right there. Look at this beautiful pullback on KAS so far. Didn't quite get up there to our $12 point, or 12-cent point. And then Solana pierced the 190 and then has since retreated. We're now starting to poke back up. So I would be interested above $200. So let's go over to the Solana order page and check out the entry. And I'm going to move that up just ever so slightly, right around the 201 range. There you go, 201.07. I just moved my order up. Hey, thank you, Paul.
Hi.
Paul saying, thanks, Drew. Amazing job on XRP. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I wish we were able to score a little bit more in the service, but man, it's just what a killer run on XRP. You got to tip your cap to it.
Jalen saying, thanks for your precious content. Really appreciate it. I'm searching for some projects with value that didn't pump yet. I bought APOS at $4.90. Do you want to pull that up, APT?
Yeah.
What do you think about the chart? It definitely looks like it's accumulating right now. I'd be looking for about the $6, those highs of the accumulation to break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see that. That looks good. Look, we've got a nice declining trend line here. What else do we have? Let's just see. Yeah, let's just see how this broke. Notice how this one pivot to pivot all the way down here, held price, held price, held price, and it finally broke. So this is the stage of the breakout. And from there, we really are kind of putting in sideways consolidation. Very next area to watch for resistance is going to be right down here at this declining trend line, right about 56 cents. And let me bring that up just a slightly bit higher just to connect with this red pivot high. So that's going to be roughly 572, 572. 572 is going to be that next area of resistance for Aptos to potentially break higher. And if it does break that, then you're talking about a significant breakout, because this can be collectively considered an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Actually, wait, take that back. No, it doesn't. This low actually violates it. So take that back. All right. So we go back to the fibs to get an idea where price can generally go. And we're looking for a pretty decent bounce right up here, $6.58. That's likely going to be the spot. Just like Maggie was saying, needs to break above the $6 area. Once it does so, watch for a confirming move above this declining trend line, and then we'll be targeting the $6.58 area. You can see this here pretty clearly. This will be that trend line break, much like what we analyzed on SUI on the other chart. So that's going to be the line in the sand. So if Aptos can break here and confirm, look for any pullbacks as buying opportunities for a move up there to 658. But if you're already in it, just hang tight. You want to watch out for this trend line. Make sure that we consolidate around it, which what we're doing right now, which is good. So that should give momentum for a break higher above that trend line.
Nice. Gary's asking about Litecoin analysis. Can it reach 250? Oh, we first got to break the 140, 150. Yeah, I would look at that area first. Do you have that chart up yet?
Yes.
Yeah, those the 2025 highs. Gotta see that break first, but then next resistance beyond that is around 230-ish from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go. And Litecoin's been one of those too that's kind of been left in the dust. So good news is for it that we're starting to break out above this declining trend line that we're currently at. And I agree with Maggie there too. Looks like we're going to have a pretty decent resistance there at that pivot high, right around the 145, 150 range. As you notice too, price action hasn't gotten above there really since 2022. We were right in that range around 2022. So it's been quite a while. Price has been maintaining in this area, but this breakout is very positive. We have not yet got a confirming move on this breakout. So that'll be first step first. Watch for a confirming move. We need to get above either this candle or the candle before and have a closing action there. Then that makes this declining trend line support to buy. This declining trend line is right around 114.74. And the immediate resistance, though, is not far away. You see, we've got this inclining trend line right here. So this resistance is right around 124.25. So it's not that much further up. So ideally what you want to see happen, you want to see price get up here, close, hit this resistance, then pull back, and then that's a buying opportunity for Litecoin. Litecoin could then push up higher up to that next inclining trend line right around 163.
Right. Nathan's got a question about H-bar, asking what we see on the chart of H-bar. Seems like it's on the run right now. It has made quite the move this month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really has. And right now we're starting,
100%.
right? Huge move. Incredible. 130, right? Unbelievable. So, all right, what do we have going on here with this chart? All right. So like a lot of these cryptos, and this is on the edge of potentially not being an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but since it's a wick, it would still qualify. So we have left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And then we have, it looks like the measured move's already been tagged, even though it was negated right here and then came back up. Look, isn't that amazing? You could look at these charts and see how this neckline was negated right here. But just keeping this data on the chart shows you that we still, even if price can fight its way to get back up to this neckline, we still have a chance to hit that measured move, which is at basically 27.5 cents. So it's already done that. So all of this positive momentum is basically X'd out. Now let's see what this one is telling me. And it's not really giving me anything else? Let's see. All right. So yeah, H bar. This area is basically the next major area before we start getting into all-time highs. We will have some stopping area here. Notice I've got these high pivots, and then on the underside too, we've got all of these pivots. So I can even slide this down a little bit. That's going to be the next area of significant resistance on H bar, the 32.5 cent area. But then beyond that, then we're talking about all-time highs at 40 cents. So the thing is, though, with H bar, it's just extended like a lot of these cryptos, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd like to see it consolidate a little bit before jumping into that.
I totally agree. I would even want to wait for a potential pullback. Right now, my eyes are attracted to this level right here, to these pivots. Sometimes when these cryptos really pick up steam, like we saw with XRP, we didn't get that pullback once it broke the inverse head and shoulders. So when they have momentum, sometimes these cryptos, and it's important to understand that our methodology works in analyzing charts. It works for analyzing crypto stocks, ETFs, commodities, even 10-year yield. It works on analyzing all of those charts. Except for it's important to know that each sector behaves slightly differently. In crypto, when it runs, it can really run. That's why you can get 30, 40, 50% gains. Whereas when you look at the stock market, it's really pretty tough to get the 30, 40, and 50% gains unless we have some sort of massive sell-off like what occurred earlier this year and then also during COVID. And then you're just scooping up those lows. Otherwise, it's usually in stock market, you're looking for about 10, 20% gains, and that's a great trade. Crypto can really run through some of these levels and they can extend. With the extensions, you have to be prepared for it to go to the next level. So like with H bar here, we in the weekly chart, the RSI is not through 70 yet, but it's getting there. The daily, though, you see here, we're way over 70. We've been bubbling up 78, 80, 85. And so that's telling us that right now in this near term, which makes sense, it's definitely overbought. And likely we'll have some sort of pullback. So with that being said, where's price going to pull back to? You can see here, this is a great spot, 23 cents with this fib 382 retrace. Notice this consolidation right here. And even if it doesn't pull down there, you may even want to start inching in if you're not in yet, right around 24.5 cents. And then be prepared. This level could get pierced and maybe go down to the very next one too. And then notice the next level after that has this chop. And then it also corresponds with this consolidation. So we have several good levels, and with H bar being as extended as it is, I likely wouldn't be a buyer right here. I would want to wait for some sort of retrace. And then too, think about it this way. You have, in essence, a short-term double top, right, with this pivot, but it's already been hit. It's been hit again. And then if we pull back a little bit, and then it will be a fourth hit of that area, which will then weaken it even more, implying more probabilities that we're going to break higher. So you'd be getting yourself a better entry waiting, and then also you would be setting the deck up for higher probabilities of a break of that resistance area with another attack. So I'd likely hang back on the sideline, wait for price to come back on H bar a little bit before getting in.
Awesome. Matt's asking, can you please take a look at XML for a short opportunity?
XML.
XML.
I know XLM. XML. Maybe they might to XLM. I'll just go through that real quick.
Have that wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. If they and please feel free to type back in if there was something else, or if you accidentally typed in XML instead of XLM. But anyway, I see bullish consolidation on this chart. First support down here at 40 cents. Second one at 36.8 cents. I see here we've got, this is where price is struggling right here, this pivot high from January 16th. But then also notice we've tagged that twice now. And we've also, in doing so, now hit this declining trend line twice within a really short period of time. And this consolidation implies we're wanting to go higher. But all the while, I can't help but just look down here at the bottom of the screen and notice that we're overbought on the daily, nearing overbought on the weekly. Look at this run up that we've had from, oops, let me get this drawing tool off. There we go. Look at this run up that we've had of nearly 125% near the highs. pushing up as much as 131. So in a short period of time, amazing run on XLM. Now, it's important too to understand the functionality of some of these coins, because some of them have no function, like Dogecoin, and others do. XLM, this coin is pretty similar to XRP. XRP focuses more on institutional money transfers, large sums, making money wires basically far more cost efficient and also effective. They'll go through much faster than some of the money wire transfers. Even though those seem to be pretty fast, XRP will be even faster. So XRP is more of the big institution play, and XLM is more of a play for the unbanked individuals, those individuals that are coming from developing countries that maybe not have banks in their countries for them to input capital. So XLM is focusing more on the smaller individual, whereas XRP is focusing on the larger institution. So XLM, there could be some great benefit here, especially because this is bringing banking to a lot of people who may not have been able to have that service available to them to transfer money to and from people and also to receive money. So I think there is still some great value in this, but I still would rather be, let's say if I had to choose one or the other, XRP or XLM, I probably would choose XRP just because of how many institutions can and will potentially adopt this. XLM, that could be very good, and there will be far higher amount of account users, but the value and the volume of money transfers likely won't be as high as what we'll see in XRP.
All right. We got a question from Chris. Would love to hear long-term outlook for Link and Super. So, I mean, I like both of those projects. As far as the charts go, do you want to pull up the charts on those?
Yeah. This link has a heck of a potential move a little bit higher on the charts that I show. I see a potential major move up to 24.21 in the near term. Again, it's like broken record, guys. We've got a lot of cryptos that are just overbought, and it's really past due, right? We've had a lot of these altcoins that really have not had any traction whatsoever. Bitcoin is making new highs. Ethereum pushing up as much as it is, and a lot of these altcoins were still left in the wake, and we're way down lower on the chart. So it makes sense we could have some move up, but in this move up, we're likely going to get into some resistance right in this range before that measured move right here at $22.30. But I do like this pattern, and even with any sort of pullbacks, those could be buying opportunities, as this is a substantial break above this declining trend line. So I like this play. Link. What was the other one? I'm sorry, Maggie.
The other one was Super.
Super.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've charted this at all. So let's take a look. Actually, I have. I surprised myself. So this is the area I like. You see this whenever you have this occur on charts where you have pivots like this, major green pivot low, and then a collection of other pivots, that tells me that area is going to be a decent and one to monitor moving up. And this one too. Notice we have pivot low here. This pivot came near it. We have a couple other pivots. Plus we have, when price came back up, it pierced that area up there too. So that tells me this $1.02 area is going to be significant resistance and likely going to be the next target for this bullish consolidation if we push higher on Super. But yeah, all that looks pretty good. And then if I go back a little further, this is a very minor one. This is kind of out of a bit of a stretch. But since a lot of these crypto charts are starting to show this, notice this small deviation, this small selling area here, then a quick rebound back up to that trend line that I highlighted. Notice how it creates this pivot. And so you can almost call this a small little left shoulder. Here's the big head, and then the right shoulder. Ideally with these inverse head and shoulder patterns, I want to see equal distance. I want to see a shoulder on the right side that looks about the shoulder length on the left side. We're not getting that with this. So I wouldn't hold as much weight with this particular pattern, but it still can generate us some info, and it can give us an upward target, much like what we saw in that other chart that did have a broken neckline for the inverse head and shoulders pattern. So say if we do continue moving up higher on Super, upward target would be around $1.50. And notice how, now that I put that in there, notice how that's likely going to correspond with this. Now, I don't think we're going to get up there as soon as August 4th, but this would be the trend line that I would follow once and if Super gets up there to that $1.48 to $1.50 measured moved area.
Awesome. So I got a question from Paul asking Maggie, where do you think BTCD, Bitcoin dominance, could find support at? What are your thoughts? So let me go ahead and see if I can share my screen here.
Yeah, pull it up. And I see a comment while you're doing that. I see for him saying more like a cup and handle. Yeah, definitely does look more like a cup and handle on super than the inverse head and shoulders, both of which will provide a similar measured move. So, yep.
All right, so Paul, what I'm looking at here, we have a really nice parallel channel on the Bitcoin dominance. And then if you go back in time, we have a nice horizontal support and resistance. And those two line up right in this area here. So I could definitely see us finding some support in there. We're not there yet. But another chart I like to look at is the total 3, which is altcoins minus Ethereum. And we're coming into a really long-term resistance up in here. So I do think that the altcoin run probably is going to turn in the near future, but we're not quite there yet, in my opinion. But just looking at all the altcoin trends we've been looking at so far, a lot of them are running into resistance. And we have, the total 3 running into resistance. If we just pull up Bitcoin, what I'm looking at with Bitcoin is we have this. Let me go down to a lower time frame, go down to the daily. We have a really strong resistance that we broke around 109, 110. Would not be surprised if we get a pullback into here before we start another leg higher, if we are to continue higher here. Right now, we kind of have a bull flag forming, but we also have, a bit of a topping tail in here. And so I would anticipate maybe a little bit more downside or consolidation. Would love to see a retest of this level in here. I think that'd be a really strong buy level for Bitcoin.
Awesome. It's amazing. It's amazing how that works, isn't it, Maggie? The dominance chart and how it can influence what's going on with the alt space. It's really pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's I love when everything comes together like that,
Yeah.
So Drew says, Dweep says, Drew, what are your thoughts on AAVE? Has a market cap of about 4 billion. Highest total value locked for a DeFi stablecoin market is 50 billion. Is it undervalued?
Let's take a look. Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Let me get. There you go. I got it. All right. So AAVE. Oh man, what a beautiful looking chart this is. Now retesting this area up here. So, couple things to look at on this chart. All right. So we've already broken out of this trend line. So let's just get it on there. Notice when we did so. Gosh, this is such amazing stuff, guys. All right. So. All right, who knows with the methodology we broke out here? Did it confirm? Did this confirm right here? The answer there is no, as we see with price action moving back down on the charts. And we reattacked that trend line and have since now broken out. That does make this trend line support on any sort of pullbacks. So this trend line currently under price is about 270, right around 270 and 67 cents. But just that one trend line gives me so much information because it gives me a buy level. It also tells me there's a failed breakout, and then also then reaffirms the support right here too. Notice all this chop that if price were to come back in here, any pattern can fail, right? And it's important to note that, and anybody that's been trading for a while understands that too. But nothing is 100% guarantee with anything. But with this sort of price action in this breakout, the second attempt of a breakout, that tells me that when price comes back down in here, this is likely going to be a really good buying opportunity. So watch for price. If it does come back in, it may help you, give you an opportunity to reduce your average here on AAVE. But really beyond that, now we're talking about all-time highs. So I'd be waiting for a pullback. And then it's really all-time highs right up here at the $400 area. You will have minor pauses right here, the 380 and the 390. Those are basically psychological round numbers, but then 400 being a bigger psychological round number right there at the all-time highs. So we're teetering right there with potentially moving up there and hitting that target. So I would wait for a move down under $300, start accumulating, and wait for an attack of that 380, 390, then eventually 400. Very neat, very good chart there in breakout mode.
Sweet. John says, please take a look at ADA. Tell me if I should get out and get back in later.
Yes. All right.
Someone else just asked about ADA as well. So let's go ahead and pull that one up.
Yeah, very popular one. And I completely understand. Now, again, the crypto market is very tough at pinpointing tops and bottoms simply because they can extend longer. You know, the euphoria lasts a little bit longer in these. Very evident right here. We looked at SUI when we had a confirming breakout and then it retraced the scene of the crime. We didn't get any retrace on ADA. We didn't get any retrace on XRP. So that shows you the strength of some of these coins when they do break out. Didn't get a retrace here, didn't get a retrace of this breakout. It's just been, you know, incredible. And really in those sorts of moves, way to go. They don't happen that often. But this one showing that it did the same thing. It broke out, it never retraced, but it went and accomplished its task of hitting the next resistance area at 93 cents and has pulled back pretty nicely from there too. So with Cardano, with it being as extended as it is, I'm going to have to sit back and want to wait to buy. I've already have some of this in the hodler position, but I would be looking to buy if I was not in this back down here around the 70 to 75 cent range on price action. So about 15-cent decline. That would be an ideal buying spot. A more aggressive spot would be right up here at this pivot high, which is around 85 cents. You could start getting into the position here at 85 and then average down all the way down here to this declining trend line. Ultimately, with this sort of move, we need to pause, consolidate, or pull back to gain forward momentum to push higher up to this inclining trend line. And if we do that, then we're talking about, again, all-time highs on the chart of Cardano right here. So all-time highs, all-time highs within the last year. So we will be pushing back up there to that area. That's where I see potential Cardano going to this 2024 pivot high from December 3rd.
All right. Adrian's asking, can you give your opinion on EGLD?
On AGLD?
EGLD.
EGLD. So let's take a look. All right. So the multiverse, man, a lot of these are all pretty similar. Now, this one is starting to get close to a breakout from this major fall. This is a major recovery right here, creating new lows, right? And then notice too, we're right here into resistance. So that's this area is likely going to be met with pause and price action right at the here. Let me zoom in so we get an exact number on this trend line today. It looks like price is already starting to come in on the 10-minute chart. Price action 1863 is where that trend line is. So 1863 is where the make or break point for EGLD's continued move up in the near term. If we were able to get above that, then we're going to be moving quite a bit higher on the charts. Next stop is going to be right around $27 on EGLD. So this is a very big, around $27. Very big spot here on EGLD. We'll need to have a break, a confirm, and then we need to pause and pull back because we're extended on the daily, and then we could start pushing higher up to the $27 target. But this is looking pretty good. We just need to break first. Need to get a breakout first.
Yeah, we got a question about DOT, which is looking very similar. I know you took a win on your service with DOT recently, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We had, this is one of our staked positions in the hodler service. And so what we've done is I unstaked, it was about 30% of my holdings on Polkadot. And then we took profit on Polkadot with those 30%, still holding the remaining 67% or so, 69%, and have staked that position. So looking for a little bit more of a move up on Polkadot. Now, as you see here, Polkadot right into resistance. So it does make sense. If this crypto market continues to push, we still should see some sort of consolidation on some of these alts, much like a Polkadot right there, right now into resistance after gradually inclining like this. Notice it wasn't as a clean move like this. If we go back on the chart, we notice we have a move up and then sideways consolidation, sideways to slightly down. That's all bull flaggish. Think of a bull flag like a flagpole. Like a flagpole, if it were sitting straight up here, how would the flag stand or lie at rest off the side of that flagpole? It would likely hang and slightly go down, right? We don't want, flagpoles don't generally have flags going up, right? They generally have the flag either going out straight sideways if that wind's high enough, or the price will go down a little bit because obviously the gravity is pulling that flag down. So this is perfect. This is a stair step up and a bullish consolidation, move up. Nice sustained move, stayed up for quite a while, but then notice we're stair stepping down. And then here we stair step up on this, even this small incline, a nice pivot low, stair step, and then now it's just gradual float. These sort of gradual floats, while they can last long, they generally lead to sharp declines. So just keep that in mind with Polkadot. We either want to see, if you're a bull, you want to see consolidation. That will kind of get rid of this slightly increased angle. Just consolidate, put in a little bit more bullish consolidation like this, and then that will open the door for further upside for Polkadot. But we need to, and it likely needs to happen right here at this resistance area. So I want to see consolidation right here and then a further move up. Next stop, if we go up, is going to be up here around 650. 650. That'll be the next big level to pay attention to on Polkadot.
All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen for this question. So Lisa's asking, what do you think about the island top on BTC futures? So go ahead and pull up my chart for 1 second. I guess I got to remove yours first. There we go. All right, so looking at the Bitcoin future, so she's asking about an island top. So an island top is when we gap up and consolidate. And then what we'd be looking for to confirm the island top would be a gap down. So we have not gotten that yet. So if we do get a gap down and we break this key support here that I was just talking about earlier, around anywhere between, call it 111, 112, then yeah, that definitely could be a bearish signal that, you know, this could be a failed breakout here. But until that happens, until this support zone breaks, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. All right, so moving on to Chris. Checks is going down while most alts have been going up. What do you think has a chance to bounce, or is it more likely it'll continue bleeding? CHEX.
All right, let's see. All right, so yes, it is not looking pretty at all. Here's the thing: if this can't catch a bounce while everything else is catching a bounce, it kind of gives you a sign that this may be a little bit more of a risky play. The good news about it, you have some divergence going on the daily chart down here with the RSI. If you see down at the bottom of my screen, notice how we're making lower lows on the chart, but yet the RSI is not at its lowest point on the chart. This diversion right here usually leads to a bounce. Now, how much of a bounce? I'm unsure of. You can get a generalized target with this trend line right here. See, I connected the green candle wick high with this pivot. This pivot to the green candle wick high. I didn't connect it over to this pivot. I connected to the first major pivot because price never closed above that range. So now making new lows. How low can it go? That's a great question. It still could be going lower, but it shows that right now on the daily chart, we're starting towards getting momentum to start moving higher. If I see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this setup into double bottom is a sleeper hold setup. One of my educational courses that I talk about and teach here at Verified Investing, this setup is very likely to generate a swing bounce of about 3 to 5%. If I have a similar pattern develop on the weekly, we'll be talking about 10 to 30% of bounce potential, maybe even more. But this one is showing, even though it's down today, it's still showing that this is closer to a bottom than it is to going down further. You know, so it still could go down another couple pennies, but it's right at that area that looks like a bounce is about to take place, even though the alts have been under pressure. So what's likely going to happen is say if we do have the alts get under pressure after pushing up so much recently, say they do start coming back in a little bit, this may retreat a little bit more, but then once the momentum starts sparking back up again, this will then eventually push up and attack this declining trend line. This still would be a nice move from current price up to the trend line. We're talking a move about 30+%. So there's good potential to be made here. It's just a matter of it could take longer. But from what I'm seeing, it's not that bad. It's not that bad for a spec play.
All right. So, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. ETH is not overbought on all RSI. I believe it is overbought, but it doesn't mean it can't continue going higher.
Right. Well, on the weekly, we're just piercing 70, right? So that's the very beginning stage of saying overbought. It doesn't, by all means, look back here on this chart. Look, just because we tag 70 doesn't mean we need to sell off. And this time we tag it, and we did have a little bit of pullback, but what did we have? We had consolidation and then a rip higher. So then this area obviously peaked, poked above 70 and peaked here around 83, 84 on the RSI. So we could see a similar scenario play out here, which is why I'm not that eager to short Ethereum. I think this is and could be one of the beginnings of a pretty good move up and move to new all-time highs of Ethereum. I just think there'll be stops along the way. I think we'll hit this and pull back to this trend line, but I wouldn't be interested in shorting until once we get near the 4,000 area. And it's got to do so rapidly. It's got to move up there quickly in order to get me interested for a short.
All right. Let's see. I believe we had a couple more questions down here.
Okay, let's check out ALGO too. I think I saw one question come out on ALGO over on another outlet, but I was looking at this chart over the weekend too. You see, I've got a lot of fibs in here looking for retracements on a potential opportunity to get in long on this. As you see, we've been breaking out on ALGO. Ooh, let me get this one here. You can see we had this breakout occur right here on the chart. Nice push higher. A pullback basically right down here to 25 cents will get me interested into going long again on this. This is also inverse head and shoulders pattern. So ALGO could be going up here. Let's see. Ooh, you look at that. It almost accomplished its measured move. So this, wow. So this may be closer to the end of its run than the beginning, but I still like this as a play if we get price to come back down to 25 cents, because 25-cent range it could easily then go reattack this inclining trend line. And if it goes down here further, I'll just add. So 25 cents keeps me in a comfortable position to where I can, if price goes down, I'll add, and then we'll likely get a bounce off of that. And then that'll put me in the money quickly. And also 25 cents, let's say if we get a rebound bounce of support right here off the 25 cents, that'll take me right up here to this trend line. So all the while giving me a great potential upside gain on ALGO and also reducing my risk by getting in up here. And then what am I going to sell to, the trend line? I'll likely sell in the trend line, giving me far less of a chance of a gain, about 15% versus 30. So I'll be patient and sit back and wait on ALGO.
Right. Jalen's saying he likes ENA. He thinks it's going to rebound to 0.455. I mean, pull back, I guess. It's already broken 455.
Yeah, but I could understand where he's thinking a pullback to that 455 level could occur.
Yeah, maybe that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, that's likely. Yeah, a lot of these cases, and you know what? I guess the main point for today, we've seen a lot of these charts pushing up high. I've talked about RSI that's getting overbought territory. Just crypto in general, don't have FOMO, folks. Don't have FOMO. Look at these charts, back out on the time frames. Understand they go up and down with big swings, and it's okay if you miss a huge run. Find the support levels where your thesis is valid for getting back in for a play, much like what was said here, a pullback to the 45.5 level. Look at where all this chop is right here. That would give you the support for the entry to go long. Plus, we're overbought. So it's not like, oh, man, I've missed my chance to get in ENA. I'm never going to get that chance again. It's very unlikely you're never going to get that chance again. These prices on any of these cryptos or stocks, they're made to move. Just because you missed it today doesn't mean you'll miss it tomorrow or the next week or next month, etc. So be patient, analyze charts, don't get emotional, and don't jump into something just because it looks like it will stop, it will never stop going up, because eventually it will. People will hit that sell button and run for the exit door and give you that opportunity with a discounted price on whatever your favorite coin is, much like this one with ENA.
Awesome. Anybody else got any questions for us? Adrian says, thank you so much for the presentation. I truly loved it and admired the work you do. I hope you never stop.
Hey,
Thanks, Adrian.
awesome. Adrian, thank you. Couldn't do it without Maggie's help. So thank you, Maggie, for joining us today and in the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bummed we didn't get Caspa. A little bummed we didn't get Solana as day trades because, man, look at these beautiful pullbacks that have occurred so far. So a little bummed about those. Maybe next time we'll inch into those positions a little earlier, but it's kind of hard to do so when I have a decent and significant level above on Solana where I'm expecting a pierce of some sort, and we're just getting a really good pullback now that we see on the charts. Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin doing? Yep, pulling back too. This is one of the things, and another key takeaway for anybody that's not seen this show before, maybe this is your first time viewing it. Bitcoin, it always needs to be up on your chart when you're trying to day trade cryptocurrencies. Now we can day trade crypto with these with Blowfin. It makes it so simple. I'm in and out of plays very quickly. I can use 3x leverage. I can use far more than 3x leverage. It goes all the way up here to, it does actually have 150x, but not on Solana. So it can be very, very lucrative if you are correct and have patience. But keep in mind too, using leverage, you can zero out your account pretty quickly. I only go with a moderate 3x leverage. That does give me a little bit more buying power in making day trades. So yeah, always got to monitor Bitcoin because Bitcoin is likely going to lead the way for the rest of the cryptocurrencies. If Bitcoin starts selling off, the rest of the other cryptos are likely going to follow suit and start selling off too. So this always gives us a good heads up, especially let's say price is going up into a resistance on a crypto and Bitcoin just starts selling. Well, that area of resistance on an altcoin is likely going to work pretty well. So we should start shorting that with Bitcoin falling, and then usually it then starts following suit of what's going on in Bitcoin. It's critical to always have Bitcoin up on the radar to understand where the general direction is going to take price, much like what we see here on Solana, pulling back down on its chart, and much like we see on KAS USD pulling down on the chart. Really cool stuff there.
Martin says, what time frame BTC? Assume you're talking about the same time frame that you're going to be trading the other markets, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. As far as what so basically how I like to trade it is in the day trading room, live day trading room, we're trading stocks and ETFs. I always on one screen have the spiders and the Qs, or the spiders and the SMH, always have the SPY up on one screen. And basically I replicate that thought process by using Bitcoin as the quote unquote SPY index or QQQ index. The Bitcoin is really the barometer of the entire crypto market. And if it starts popping and going up, the rest of the crypto market's likely to follow suit. So I'll watch time frames, right? Usually I like to use the 10-minute time frame when I'm just monitoring general intraday activity. If I'm day trading it, I'll zoom into the one and start to isolate different levels of pivots, potential turning points on charts, or even over sold RSI, like we see Bitcoin currently down here on the 1 minute, just poked underneath 20 on the RSI, likely implying we should have a little bit of a bounce, and that's just starting to occur here. But will it have traction? We'll need to find other levels to align with that sort of oversold situation, and that will give us good probabilities for bounce opportunities in place. But right now we see Bitcoin falling on the 10-minute. It's not quite pierced 30, so we could still go a little bit lower before we start seeing a general bounce in all of the markets. And notice we're starting to get into support with KAS too. Not quite oversold on the 10-minute. On the 1 minute though, definitely oversold. And this area of support right here when we're about to get off the mic. This could be a long opportunity. This could be a dealer's choice for anybody out there interested in going long or making a day trade on crypto. This would be a little bit of a riskier one considering we've moved up so much on KAS, but you could get in at a long around 10 cents, 10.9 cents, and be looking for only about 1/10 to 2/10 of a cent. It wouldn't be that much of a go there. And it's all because, again, they're more risky taking the long plays, but when the price is already extended so much on the chart. I would be more interested in going long here and then shorting up here because of its extension. So it's a little bit more risky, but you should be able to snag about 1/10 to 2/10 of a penny on that trade.
All right. Chris is asking, how long do you think the pullback will take, please? I'm assuming you're asking about Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't really have a time frame for it. I tend to look at the charts and look at the technicals, and when certain levels are hit, we talked about the Bitcoin dominance and the total 3. And when I start to see those start to hit those levels and some type of setup in Bitcoin itself, that's when I would start to shift to the pullback being over and another run starting. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's, so hard to tell, right? I think Maggie answered that correctly, where there is no real rhyme or reason to say, hey, it's going to happen 3 months or 2 months. All I can do is just go back through the chart. We love technical analysis, right? We love watching charts, analyzing charts. And so what I'll do is just simply do that, so I'll go ahead and get a range. We pulled back here roughly for about a third of the year on Bitcoin for its first pullback. So we have about 4 months or so of a pullback, 5 months of a pullback. And then here we have a pullback to the bottom was 400. So about a year. So we have a third of a year and basically a year of a pullback time frame. So then this one was about half a year. So you see, we're starting to develop an average, a third of the year, about a year, a half of the year. So we're starting to get closer to about a half a year pullback average. So let's see for this pullback from this pivot down to the low. So about 79.80. So that's about 3 months. So now we're skewing shorter than half a year. So we're looking at roughly 4 to 5 months of a pullback should put in a bottom on Bitcoin. Just generally speaking, quickly evaluating the charts, that's about how long you should anticipate a pullback on Bitcoin. Now that's if we're having, lows, not new lower lows, but say maybe potentially a low lower than this June 22nd low of 98,000. That could be done. And especially if you consider 3 to 4 months worth of selling pressure in Bitcoin, Bitcoin can move, as we know, 5,000, 3,000 overnight. So this moving down there to the $100,000 level in 3 to 4 months is not unreasonable. But that's what you can generally anticipate for a correction on Bitcoin.
Awesome. Chris said, what do you believe the top narratives are for this run? Definitely AI and meme coins and real world assets.
Yep. I would also say data centers, which has to go with AI. If you remember early in this administration, and maybe not early, just maybe a couple of weeks ago, there's been so many things this administration's done. It's just really mind blowing. But when he had a tour through the Middle East, through Qatar, through Saudi Arabia, a lot of those countries were investing heavily in the development of either AI or quantum computing, and they were it was like a co-op development project and program where the U.S. and these Middle Eastern countries are injecting millions and millions of dollars over the next 5 years for AI data centers being built out, new technology with quantum computing, and it was a joint effort. So these data centers are all being built now, and contracts have been secured with this new release of capital. So GEV has been going nuts. Different power company plays have been just going out of control because the anticipation is in 4 to 5 years, the AI data center space will quadruple, and the data centers soak up so much energy. And so that's why there's been a huge push on energy and AI. I think the next wave is going to be more robotics, which currently already is underway, but it's going to be in that phase where it's robotics and AI and really the next narrative, good guess, but we're in bubble territory now with AI. The valuations on some of these companies are higher than what they were during the .com bubble burst. So even though the markets can continue to go higher, we're reaching scary levels without some sort of serious correction that can hold the correction. Even though we had a nice dip in April, we're getting close to potentially another technical correction without any really reason, except for just valuations being too extended and too high. Yeah,
for sure. Martin says, awesome. Thank you so much. I think we pretty much covered all the questions. Do you have anything else that you want to go over before we close it out?
No, I think that's a great idea. Let's close it out. I'm going to go ahead and X out these orders on both Solana and CAS. Sorry about that. We didn't get filled, but hey, that's sometimes how it is with trading. And you know, next time, I know last week I think we had 2 trades, which were pretty nice. And then this next week, hopefully, we'll back it up with 2 trades again.
Yeah, thank you guys for your questions. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys attending. And Drew, I'll let you wrap it up.
All right. No, just echo that. Thank you so much for the participation. It always works so well because if you've got a question, I guarantee someone else listening has the same question or a similar one. So thank you for your participation. We'll be back here on Monday next week at 11:30 Eastern. Get ready to go. Hopefully we've got some good day trades for you on crypto. Otherwise, we'll cover a whole bunch of crypto coins at that time too. All right.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.